just want to figure out. Is there a way to tell me to be serious? How many different ways? Keep it exciting. I don't get tangled in my cord. Right? I guess we could start, huh? 4 o'clock. Are we good? Am I muted? I don't think I'm muted. Okay, very good. Good to know.
Fern, can you unmute for roll call? And Jill and Isaac.
Control D.
Did that work?
Yes.
You can hear me. Okay.
Yes. All right. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Elodia, roll call.
Miss Anderson,
Present.
Mrs. Berrigan,
I'm here.
Mr. Serna,
Here.
Mrs. Sanborn, Mrs. Ward.
Present.
All right, we'll go ahead and stand for the Pledge of the Allegiance in a moment of silence.
Show the flag to everybody.
All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, recommendation that the governing board approve the agenda as submitted.
Motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Recommendation that the governing board approve the minutes of the March 19th, 2020 special meeting and April 2nd, 2020 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, President Anderson. You know, there's a Twitter feed going around, hashtag closed, not closed. And basically what it means is even though our schools technically are closed, we're anything but. Yeah. And there's a lot going on in the school district, and there's a lot that we're still doing to serve our community. May 1st was School Lunch Hero Day, and it was actually proclaimed by Governor Ducey as such. Our schools recognized their cafeteria staff in a variety of ways, and the community was encouraged to share their appreciation with our essential workers on that day. Channel 15 came out and aired a story on the drive-through celebration that took place at Rogers Ranch School. The Levine Education Foundation is unable to hold some of its typical activities this spring, which help raise funds for scholarships for our students and former students. But the Peter Piper Pizza here in Levine is hosting a fundraiser for the Levine Education Foundation. So if an order is placed between May 14th, on May 14th between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m., 20% of the sales will benefit the foundation. And I'm very pleased to share that the Levine School District is the recipient of a $40,000 grant from the Valley of the Sun United Way. The grant was made possible through their COVID-19 Fund, which supports partner organizations that are responding to community needs during the pandemic. And those funds will be used to help provide equipment and other items to help us make sure that our schools are sanitized and safe. MC Cash School is the recipient of student care packages from the ASU Black Alumni Association. The group created almost 50 packages that include snacks, hygiene items, socks, and a hula hoop or football. A local business, Mr. Fix-It Appliance Repair, also contributed to the care packages. And Vista del Sur teacher, Jessica Suri, is a recipient of an Intel 40 for 40 teacher grant. The grant will provide her class with the funding needed to create a 3D ancient Roman city. The grants were awarded to 40 teachers from around the state in celebration of Intel's 40th anniversary in Arizona. And at this time, I would like to invite Ms. Christy Pashley, one of our school principals who #closed has been very, very busy with what's been going on in terms of providing additional educational opportunities for our students through distance learning. And Ms. Pashley, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, President Anderson, members of the board, Dr. Johnson, thank you for having me here, or virtually here for those that are watching. But it's an opportunity for Paseo Point to highlight what we've done to maintain that level of parent interaction, community interaction during, like Dr. Johnson said, #closed, not closed. I'm very proud of, from the beginning, everything that our staff did to ensure that we maintain that high level of communication with our families, not just with our students, but with the actual immediate community around Paseo Point and in our bus areas and things like that. So what we have for you is a video that highlights some of that community outreach, and we'll get that started.
Paseo Point has been working hard to keep in touch with our families. Families have been invited to join the Paseo Point Facebook page.
While Butch is working on that, I did want to highlight that you already heard that there was a student in the background. So it was actually our media club that supported us in putting this together. So there were some students behind this, and Miss Bermudez, Miss Anna E. Bermudez as well.
Paseo Point has been working hard to keep in touch with our families. Families have been invited to join the Paseo Point Facebook page. Our wonderful teachers and staff share their favorite picture book during a live read aloud every school night at 7 p.m.
El libro que vamos a leer ahora se llama Aquí también. Okay, let's see. ¿Quién me puede decir qué significa aquí también? Aquí también.
They welcome students and families before and during the read aloud, with individual shout-outs to students watching.
I ain't gonna paint no more. I ain't gonna paint no more.
Hey, Eddie,
Feel free to
look at
sing
me,
along
son.
if you remember the words.
During the reading, they share why they have a special connection to the story. Families comment and interact with each other during the reading, sharing their favorite parts of the story or just saying hello. With schools closed, teachers and staff were missing the students. To help spread some cheer, teachers and faculty members decorated their vehicles and paraded through the students' neighborhoods. Along the parade route, families held homemade signs and cheered for their teachers as they waited on sidewalks and in their driveways. It was such a fun event. Parents and students were grateful for the community parade. Our school mascot Ramsey even made an appearance during the parade. Paseo Point Rams participated in a digital spirit week. It started with Motivation Monday. They had students participate in physical activities such as riding bikes, walking, and hiking. Team Tuesday encourages students to wear swag from their favorite team. What You Reading Wednesday had so many Paseo Point Rams reading their favorite books. During Thoughtful Thursday, our students wrote letters and notes to the people that they miss. Finally, on Friday, we all wore our school colors, green and yellow, for Flashback Friday. The following week, Paseo posted a daily bingo board that encourages our students to have a scavenger hunt in their houses or neighborhood to complete the bingo card. Each board was themed and ranged from finding something that makes sounds, pets, mailboxes, cards, and many more. Parents are so appreciative of our staff's efforts to stay connected during these times. Our Rams are working daily on engaging digital lessons, all provided by their teachers, while using tools like Flipgrid and Seesaw to record themselves to complete the lessons. Currently have an average of 88% of our students participating in their online learning. To motivate the students, the teachers are still rewarding them with digital Ram Bucks when they rise to success. Ram Buck winners are announced live on Fridays, and their prizes are mailed home for students to enjoy. Now let's hear from the Paseo Point family.
Hi, Paseo Point family. Distance learning has been a really positive experience for us as a family so far. I have a first grader who does daily calls with his teacher, and he receives instruction that way, and then he can go on and do other homework assignments as well through the Google Classroom. I have a third grader who also has regular calls with her teachers, but what I really like about what her teachers are doing is they spend most of that call time empowering the students to be independent learners. They teach them about the technology that's available, the resources available to them, and then they allow the students to go do those assignments on their own. And then on top of that, the school community as a whole has been really supportive through Facebook. They've been posting, challenges that we can participate in as a family that helps keep our kids connected to others from the school. They also have the specials teachers have been sending out assignments and things like that. So we're getting closer to resembling a normal school day as much as we can, which has been really great for us as a family, so that our kids still feel some sense of safety and consistency in what could otherwise be a kind of a scary time. So we're really grateful to Paseo Point for all they've done. So thank you, and go Rams.
So that does conclude our video, but just some highlights of Spirit Week and our parade. We've done Lego challenges. We've done so many things each day. Kids love to take pictures and even send it to my personal, or not personal email, but my work email as well. So thank you so much for allowing Paseo Point. Kind of glad it was our spotlight month. Now, you know, looking back at first, I was like, oh goodness, what's this going to look like? But we really enjoyed putting it together as a school community. So thank you for watching and having us.
Thank you, Ms. Pashley. Greatly appreciate you being able to put this together and everyone involved in putting this together. And not only the video, but really all that it represents that's going on in your school community to support our families and especially to support the continued learning of our students during this time that schools are closed. It's great to see that so many Paseo Point Rams are engaged and involved, and our teachers really are truly heroes. You know, one of the things I shared in a letter recently to staff is that, you know, we certainly would never choose to be in times and circumstances like these, but it is times and circumstances like these in which true heroes are revealed. And we have a lot of heroes that have been revealed in our district. Our teachers have just been amazing when you consider how quickly they transitioned, I mean, basically overnight, from a traditional in-classroom format that they've been used to and have trained for and have prepared for to this distance learning situation, which was new to most of us. And they've just done a phenomenal job in making that transition, and we greatly appreciate them. They've really made the best of a much less than perfect situation. And speaking of outstanding employees, I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize and acknowledge our employees of the month for April. And they aren't here in person, but we do want to recognize them, and we'll do our best to invite them to come back when we are able to recognize them again in person. The first I would like to recognize is our classified employee of the month. This employee works hard to ensure that her student is able to participate in all of the school day activities. She always makes sure that the student has what he needs to succeed. She's a valuable member of the classroom staff, helping all students to succeed. She is very involved and supportive of the Levine district and often helps prepare for school events. So we want to congratulate and recognize Special Education Instructional Associate at MC Cash School, Maria Navarrete. So congratulations, Maria. Well deserved. Appreciate all that you do. Our Certified Employee of the Month, it does a phenomenal job with his caseload. He builds great relationships with students and families. His positive attitude is contagious. He always puts his students' needs first and advocates for them. He is just a fantastic teacher, a great part of the school community and school team. Want to congratulate our Certified Employee of the Month from Trailside Point Resource teacher, Tyler Hunter. So congratulations, Tyler. Once again, greatly deserved, and we greatly appreciate everything that you do to support your students, your peers, your fellow employees, and the school. And next, I want to share what I typically do this time of year is a legislative update. It's been the most unique, unprecedented legislative session that I have ever reported on in the history of my career. We were tracking a tremendous number of bills through the legislature. We were directly involved, along with other school districts and school associations that we're directly involved with, in both promoting good school legislation and in combating what we consider to be bad public school legislation. And all of that came to an abrupt end when the legislature went into recess. They did before leaving. They did pass House Bill 2910, which basically was it waived state testing for this year, knowing that we wouldn't be in school to test. And it also allowed us to continue to pay our school employees. It set up provisions for us to be able to provide distance learning. and some other provisions as well that helped accommodate these unusual and unprecedented circumstances. So we're very grateful that the legislature responded quickly to the needs of public schools around the state, including Levine. Another thing that the state legislature did quickly before they went into recess is that they approved what they referred to as a skinny budget. And basically what this means is that they approved a budget that kept in place all of the things that they had already committed to, that they were already obligated for. Fortunately, that does include the final installment of the governor's 20 by 2020 plan for increased compensation for teachers. It also does include a partial restoration of district additional assistance, which is really our capital fund, which we had actually had some good legislation going through, a good opportunity to restore all of those cuts. But once the legislature went into recess and approved the skinny budget, they fell back to a partial restoration of those funds. And it also does include the inflation funding, which, as you know, the state is obligated to provide for our base support level here for public education here in Arizona. So that's the skinny budget does include those. It didn't impose any cuts, but what it didn't do is allocate any of the approximately $1 billion of revenue surplus that the state has towards any new expenditures. And there were a few things that we were working on. One, I mentioned the full restoration of capital or district additional assistance. The other was additional funding for schools that serve students in poverty. There was a proposal that got coined Project Rocket. That wasn't exactly what we had proposed, but it was something that we supported because it was built on what we had proposed, what had been proposed by us and other school districts and the groups that the public education groups that we participate in, to provide additional funding for those students that are more at risk. So all of those fell by the wayside, along with hundreds of other bills that had been approved by the House that were ready to be considered by the Senate, and had been approved by the Senate, ready for consideration by the House, and everything was put on hold while the legislature went into recess. They had recently proposed coming back on May 1st to end the legislative session, the sine die. The leadership had proposed that. There was a lot of pushback. As you can imagine, there were some legislators that weren't too happy that their bills that they'd worked so hard on to get through the approval process, that were nearing the end of that marathon run, they didn't like seeing that just the race called off, right? And so they were hoping that the legislature would reconvene and that those bills could move forward. But we just got word today that the Senate president has called for the legislature for the Senate to get together tomorrow for the purpose of ending the legislative session, what they call sine die. And so we believe at this point in time that there won't be any new bills coming out of the state legislature that would impact us next year, other than what the few things that we've talked about. And that's it for my legislative report. Again, the most unusual legislative report I have ever had the occasion to share. Well, we have a very some very special recognitions at this time. As you know, I mentioned the Levine Education Foundation, and it does provide scholarships to students and former students, those going on to college. And we have 4 former students that were awarded scholarships this year, and I do want to present them to you. So if we have the first one come up on the slideshow. All right, so Charlie Ball. So Charlie attended Vista del Sur and will graduate from Cesar Chavez High School. Talk about unusual circumstances, right? To be a senior this year. These are wonderful students that are seniors this year. What trying times for them as they finish out their senior year of high school in these very unusual circumstances. But she plans to attend Arizona State University, go Devils, and study public health. right, next we have Jada Ortiz Canasales. She attended Vista del Sur and will graduate from Betty Fairfax High School. She plans to attend the University of California, Berkeley, and will study business. And we have Riasha Shamsuddin, who also attended Vista del Sur and will graduate from Cesar Chavez High School. She plans to attend Arizona State University and will study kinesiology. And then we have Faith Stockton, who attended Trailside Point and will graduate from Betty Fairfax High School. She plans to attend Eckerd College and is planning to study marine biology. Outstanding students, everyone. When I talked to some of their former teachers here in the district, they couldn't say enough good about these students and are not at all surprised that not only were they selected for the scholarships, but that they also are going on to further their education and pursue their future goals. So outstanding students, and we appreciate the fact that they were part of our Levine family, and we wish them the best as they continue to pursue and their educational goals. And this is a scholarship that will continue with them each year as they continue their education experience. All right, next, and this is a very special time of year because this is when we recognize our teachers, our Excellence in Education Award winners. And I believe we have slides to share with you so you can see who these folks are. And once again, when we get the opportunity, hopefully next fall, to meet in person, we'll be able to bring these folks to be recognized in person. So the first is Anahi Bermudez, and she has mentored numerous employees and supports instructionally as well as in areas of classroom management. Her routines, procedures, and high expectations are exemplary and can be used as a model for any growing teacher. Noticing there were not many extracurriculars available for younger students, she created a media club and worked closely with a community member to bring Girls Who Code to second grade female students. So it really went above and beyond. Anahi, we really appreciate you. You're awesome. Next, we have Gabrielle Chilton. And Gabrielle has developed a highly focused vision and plan for increasing the academic achievement of all her students. She invests her students in learning by creating an interactive and motivating learning environment. She creates measurable and attainable goals for all students. Her instructional strategies reflect an understanding of research-based strategies to improve achievement. She consistently incorporates strategies to help her students reach their academic and behavioral goals. And Gabrielle, just want to let you know the difference that you make in the lives of your students day by day, lesson by lesson, what you do for them is greatly appreciated, and it's phenomenal. All right, next up we have Michelle Headley, who is a fourth grade teacher at Rogers Ranch School. She consistently has high student achievement as measured by AZ Merit and AIM Science. She scores higher than the district average and sometimes higher than the state average. She sponsors student council and also helps keep our National Junior Honor Society in compliance with fundraising rules and paperwork. She oversees her school's largest fundraiser and looks for community service opportunities for her student council students. So as you can see, she's engaged. She not only is she an amazing classroom teacher with great student success, but she keeps her students engaged in so many other ways outside of academics that are important for their development and their leadership, developing as leaders. All right, next we have Kudali Kendall at Desert Meadows. She is a fourth grade teacher. Her AZ Merit scores have been consistently higher than state and district averages. She leads by example and has inspired her teammates with her dedication and work ethic. Under her leadership, the entire fourth grade team has experienced a surge in ELA scores. She exemplifies what it means to be a lifelong learner as she is working towards another advanced degree and is in the final stages of becoming a national board certified teacher. And as you all know, we highly value our national boards. We don't have very many. National Board Certified Teachers here in Levine. And we greatly appreciate those that we do have, and we greatly just want to congratulate Codalie on her progress in working towards that and her dedication while she's doing that, working on an advanced degree as well. Truly, truly phenomenal. Next, we have Jennifer Lewis, 4th grade teacher at Trailside Point School. So Mrs. Lewis regularly shows significantly higher percentages than the school, state, and district in AZ merit percentages. Over the past 2 years, students who are instructed in ELA by Mrs. Lewis scored significantly above state, district, and school averages. She offers guidance and leadership to other 4th grade team members in subjects that she does not directly teach. As a unit, they have unified and become an extremely strong team that scores higher than the district, state, and school averages in math and science, as well as ELA. You know, I greatly appreciate Jennifer on a personal level. Every time I visit Trailside Point and get a chance to see her, visit with her, she's always smiling, always friendly, and you can tell that she loves what she does, loves the students, and is a really positive influence at her school. Next up, we have Tamara Peterson, who is 2nd grade teacher at Cheatham School. Ms. Peterson builds positive relationships and fosters a learning environment centered around learning and trust in her classroom. She sets high expectations for every student and supports them with engaging standards-based lessons that are differentiated to her students' individual needs. She tutors her students after school, tailoring instructions based on what data tells her about each child's individual needs in math and reading. She is knowledgeable about the curriculum best practice, which she shares at grade level PLCs. And once again, we're so extremely fortunate to have somebody like Tamara that just does a fantastic job of not only in her own classroom, but with her team and with the school, and bringing that positivity, that can-do attitude, and that dedication across the board. Next up, we have Cleo Simpson, music teacher at Vista del Sur. Mrs. Simpson continually finds ways to reinforce academic concepts through musical notation, specifically in regard to fractions and research. She is a small group test administrator and consistently supports students and encourages them while holding them accountable. She runs her school's Fine Arts Club, which involves hundreds of students in grades 2 through 8, and directs the Vista Choir for middle school students. And she just does a phenomenal job. You know, students can gain so much through the arts and through music. And not only is she passionate about the arts and about music, but she shares that passion with the students in a way that gets them excited. And it's wonderful to see. And it's wonderful to see what the fine arts program at Vista del Sur has accomplished. And then dear to my heart, art teacher at Levine School, Andrea Smith. You know, as you know, I like to paint. I like to think of myself as an artist, and I just think that art is a wonderful, important, valuable subject in our schools. And as a specials teachers, Andrea makes a continued commitment to support student achievement by incorporating grade level standards into her art lessons. She has been an integral part of our school's continued academic growth over the last 4 years. Her support of academic standards in art is consistent, appreciated, and often commended by grade level teachers. And she really reflects that art, not only in her classroom, but really across the entire school. So again, Andrea, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate you. It's wonderful having you as an important and valued team member at Levine School. So those are our Excellence in Education winners for this year. Each and every one of them, outstanding teacher. We're extremely fortunate to have them as part of our team. And it's really a privilege for me to have the opportunity to present them to you as the governing board as our Excellence in Education winners this year. All right. And let me check my agenda. Does that conclude my... There's so many things here to go over. I want to make sure I didn't leave anything out. Okay, that concludes the superintendent's report for today.
Great. Well, congratulations to all those teachers and employees of the month. I wish you could be here face to face. That would be super nice, but soon, very soon, hopefully. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Okay.
We accept the consent agenda as presented.
All right, do you have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, moving on to the Levine School District Remote Learning Update.
All right, and we have joining us remotely, we have one of our, we have our administrator that heads up all of our technology, instructional technology, as well as all of our district technology. And that's Jamie Camacho. So Jamie, are you?
I'm
here.
She's
There she is.
There she is.
she,
President Anderson, members of the board, and Dr. Johnson, thank you so much for this opportunity to share our presentation tonight on how Levine transitioned to online learning. If anyone would have told me that we were going to come back from spring break and be online learning, I wouldn't have believed you. So we quickly had to transition. And as you know, we have a lot of technology in place in the district, and it was time to test our skills. The first thing that we did is we created an online learning, kind of just an outline of what our minimal expectations would look like. And as we were working on that, our teachers started right away calling parents, offering support, finding out who needed Chromebooks, providing opportunities for them to access things, paper, or pencil, and most importantly, just connecting with our community and letting our community know that we care for them and that we're here to support them. Each one of our teachers' office also set up office hours, just so that they could be readily available to students and parents if they had questions. Certainly, we have kids online at all hours of the night. We found that they've gone nocturnal on us with our highest point of time between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. in the morning. So we do record lessons online as well. But our parents and teachers know that every day our teachers are live for them to answer questions in real time if they need us. In addition to that, we made that commitment to create daily instruction every day. And we decided to use Google Classroom as our online platform, understanding that parents have multiple children. They may have children going to more than one of our schools, making that consistent move for them. And in addition to that, using tools that we already were using in our classrooms so that we could roll out our online learning as quickly as possible and make that transition easy for both teachers and students. As you all know, our district curriculum has a full online access, so that was a great support. But in addition to that, we were able to release our English language arts textbooks and our math consumables to be used in conjunction with our online learning. I don't know if you've ever been on your screen, but it's hard to do two screens sometimes. So it allows our kids to have their books right there in front of them to be working alongside and follow along with their teacher. I'm proud to say that we do have an 85% participation rate district-wide, and we are really proud of that, but we haven't stopped working. We are concerned about that 15% of our students that we're not yet reaching, and we're working with community partners and ways to find affordable internet and hotspots for our students. So it came quickly to us while we were trying to use our old normal, which was the tools we already had. We kind of needed to look at a new normal for us. As a rule of thumb, traditionally, we don't use online social media for our students and teachers to interact. But it did become clear to us that we were going to need to have some kind of a teleconferencing tool so that our teachers and students could see each other's face in real time and be able to make that social and emotional connection. Unfortunately, most of the teleconferencing tools that are out there that are popular, like Meet, Zoom, Teams, they're not really created for a K-8 learning environment. Just on a side note, most districts, when you hear about online learning, very few of them are one-to-one kindergarten through 8th grade. So whenever I'm looking at a tool or a new resource, I always keep that in mind as a professional, but also as a parent, that when we're opening something up, we're opening up for our youngest students as well, which could be
be as young as 4 and 5. So that was something that we really were trying to process, knowing that we needed that tool. And our technology team happened to be working on another separate project with Google. And we had meetings scheduled every 2 weeks with our Google rep. And so we began to share this concern we had. And they, of course, were getting this concern across the nation. And so together, they used this as a reference to start to begin to provide feedback of what would it take to be able to get some of our tools in the educational Google for Education tools to be able to be used for our K-8 environment. So here's some things that Google came up with. The first thing that they did in order for us to be able to use Meets is they allow us to now have the link in the Google Classroom. And that just allows another layer of protection. So someone would have to be able to get into the Google Classroom and then get into the Meets link in order to join the Meet, just that extra layer of protection. Students can no longer join a Meet without the teacher present. So whoever is conducting the meeting must be present in order for the participants to be able to collaborate. Teachers can remove a student from the Meet, and they can also mute a student as needed. The district has been able to set rules in place, allowing teachers to create Meets and students to participate, but students are still not able to create a Meet on their own. It also allows a teacher to turn on, off, or reset links. In the past, once a link was set, it was live forever. So for example, after this board meeting, the link for this meeting, someone could come in at any time, even though the board meeting is over, and they could still use this link to communicate. So Google was able to make it so that we could turn it off and reset the link so that once the class meet was over, the teacher would be the last one to leave the meeting, and then they could reset the link and turn it off so it would no longer be available. So with moving to Meets, we quickly realized that we needed to do some on-demand professional development. So thanks to Richard Pino, he's been a lifesaver. His leadership, he began to create some live stream professional developments in collaboration with our instructional coaches. So we release Meets on Friday, and Monday morning we have a live stream professional development on the settings and how to make it safe for our students. He also did some on Flipgrid, WeVideo, which is software for teachers to be able to create video. And then just some classroom hacks of just how to make our Google Classrooms more user-friendly and more efficient and effective. And of course, everything that we do, we always follow up with step-by-step guides for our teachers to be able to reference later. And in addition to that, we've been providing PLCs still every week. Our leadership on each campus has been supporting, as well as our technology team to support grade levels. And then we are available one-on-one for teachers who need assistance. And we also have our help desk for technical support as well to keep our teachers up and going during this time. But we know it's not just our teachers who need support. Our parents have found themselves in a very unique situation, one they also did not imagine that they would be in as well. While our school buildings are closed, school is still very much open. And so with that, we've been trying to be able to support our parents. We've provided a little over 1,800 Chromebooks to our families for checkout. We have a single sign-on, and why that's important is that our students need their email address and their login, and it opens everything. So once they know their single sign-on, they can get into all the different tools that their teachers have for them. We also created a parent help desk ticket. So when a parent is trying with their technology or with their student on an online account and it's not working, they can reach out directly to the tech department, and we've been there to help them and support them and walk them through it. I also think that being able to create consistency, such as Google Classroom, and where to find it on the district website under the student tab, no matter what school, what grade, our teachers go through this, our parents can go through the same format to find the resources for each one of their children, no matter what grade they are or what school. And then in addition to that, we've created newsletters for parents to help them be in the know. I have a quick video I want to show you, just giving you an example of what it looks like every day in our classrooms.
Good morning, Vista Tigers. Today is Friday, or like I like to say, Friday.
Hey, Trailside Point. It is Friday, which means we shout out some awesome students who do their personal best.
What are you doing on Wednesdays?
We're going to pass out packets to people who aren't able to get online and have some novels out for people who need new books to read.
Do 36 divided by 4. You're correct. We can do it. 9, yes. You got strong at this because you figured out a way that works for you.
I love that. Let's give her the fantastic cheer. Fantastic, Arabella.
So today I'm going to do the ice bucket challenge.
Thanks, Mrs. Hall and Mighty Soul. We gotta make it improper. That's right. So, how do I make it improper? I'm gonna say 8 times 1, right? That's 8, and add my numerator.
Quarts in 1 gallon. Or we can take a look at King Gallon here. Next sonogram is A, Q, 4 letters. Tell me the sounds. Okay, great job.
So as you can see, we already knew this, that technology is just a tool, not the teacher. But now I think we have a far better understanding. I think our technology team has done a phenomenal job supporting. I apologize. I'm having a hard time getting out of the screen. I think we always knew that technology is just a tool and it can never replace the teacher. And so our tech team, our school leadership teams, we've all been rallying around, but really, honestly, it's our teachers, their hard work, their love, and their compassion, and their commitment every day that has really made our online learning a success, in my opinion. And I think our parents are noticing it as well. I won't read all the parent feedback, but certainly, my screen is freezing on me. But here's one from Vista. I want to express my thanks to you and the whole district for quickly arranging this whole online learning for our Vista students. I'm proud to be a part of an institution that can quickly come up with a plan and accommodate students in a crisis that we're dealing with. Having the support of our teachers and their quick responses made our new normal manageable. Thank you. I wanted you to know that your teachers are doing a phenomenal job with distance learning because using Google Classroom was such a natural part of their daily routine. Switching to distance learning was seamless. And then there's many, many more. My son loves showing me your YouTube videos of King Gallon. I just wanted to let you know that you're doing a great job. So once again, it's our teachers out there that are making it all work. This is just a quick quote from Mother Teresa, and it says, "None of us, including me, ever do great things, but we all can do small things with great love, and together we can do something wonderful." And that statement really spoke to me because, we don't really know what our new normal is going to be. And we even anticipate that our kids are going to have instructional gaps due to school closures, even with our best efforts towards online instruction. But I know in some ways that we're actually stronger. Our community knows that our teachers, support staff, school, and district leadership love our kids and our families, and that bond will always make us stronger. And with that, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
No questions, Jamie. Thank you so much. That is absolutely amazing. Even though it may seem very chaotic, has been very seamless. And I just appreciate all of your guys' hard work. It does take all hands on deck to be able to pull this together and make it functional and supportive. And I just appreciate the fact that not only are you there and the whole tech team and everybody else to help support the teachers, but just to support the parents as well with the tech issues. That's great, amazing things. So thank you.
And if I could just say too, Jamie, thank you for providing us with that information so that we do have a comprehensive understanding of what's happening in the district. And then I would just add one more thing. I appreciate the flexibility of our children, all of our students in this district, because I was a good student, but if somebody told me that's how I had to learn, I don't know that I could have done it. So shout out to all of our students who are learning in a very, very different way.
Absolutely. And I know for me, it was very humbling to even be the one presenting because it's not my work. It's really the work of everybody coming together and making it happen. There's not one person that could have done any of this. It was everybody together. And yes, our students are definitely the hero as well.
Yeah, they need to go to bed earlier though, because they're setting up sleeping habits for the rest of their life right now, and that's not okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to the potential renewal for maintenance and operations override.
Well, yeah, as you know, one of the resources in our school district important is our 15% M&O budget override. And it provides us the opportunity to not only have competitive salaries, but it also provides us with the opportunity to provide free full-day kindergarten to all of our families. And without that 15% override, we simply wouldn't be able to do either of those things, have competitive salaries for our teachers and other school employees, or provide the full-day kindergarten. And what's unfortunate is that we have to go back to the voters time and again to keep that override in place to be able to continue both the salaries and the full day kindergarten. And it's going to become time fairly soon to go back out to the voters and ask them to renew that override. So in anticipation of that, we thought it'd be good just to review quickly the parameters and the different issues surrounding our override. And we have Kevin Hegarty, our CFO, is going to provide that overview for us.
Thank you. See, I'm on. My mic is on. That's good. I always have to check everything here. Okay. Madam President, members of the board, fellow employees, and if there's any guests out there, welcome. I'm going to go through a brief presentation for you and be available for questions at the end of the presentation. And let's see how this works, because Butch did a great job of training me. Let's just see if we have operator failure here. Let's get this set up, yellow, share. It felt successful. Can anybody see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. It says I'm presenting, but I see all your faces, so. Okay. And I am going to move the presentation down to a different place. Anyway, okay. Oops. Let's start from the beginning. A good place to start. Okay. Well, as Dr. Johnson explained, we currently have a 15% override. It was approved back in November of 16, which means we are concluding the third year of a 5-year fully funded authorization. So effectively, this next year will be the 4th year. Now, traditionally, our district has gone out every 4th year because if it is unsuccessful, it gives us one more shot at an override vote prior to having to start reducing our budgets. So that's where we find ourselves right now. So an override is in effect, full effect for 5 years, and then it phases out over the next 2. It goes 1/3, 1/3, and the last year there's nothing. So they call it a 7-year override, but it's in full effect for 5 years. We will have 100% funding right now through 21-22. And as I mentioned, we'll have that phase out over time. Now, how much money is this thing generating? Well, just a tiny bit of money in our budget there. So this past year was $5.9 million. As we roll forward, and as that base level amount increases, the amount that we have available for supporting our operations continues to grow also. So even that 20 by 2020 that was put in by the governor, elements of that plus the inflation actually helped drive some of these numbers for us. So, and then the other thing that helps drive it is our increased enrollment, because the more kids we get, the higher our base funding, and then we get to add this 15% on top. But $5.9 million in this past year. What do we spend the money on? Again, Dr. Johnson mentioned some of these, but when you look at our overall full free-day kindergarten, that helps us keep competitive with our surrounding districts and charters that we all have to make sure we're competitive with. Our salaries, which is among the highest in the state, and we take a lot of pride in how we have been able to manage that starting salary on our schedule and actually fund that schedule every year. It's one thing to have a salary schedule. It's another thing to fund it every year, because I've seen some salary schedules that look pretty good, but you don't move on it. You move on ours. And it also funds our art, music, and PE elective programs. So why do districts need overrides? Well, we had our Great Recession. A lot of things were reduced. Our base level funding took some hits. Our soft capital was eliminated. Excess utilities eliminated. The full day funding for kindergarten eliminated. So we have to do that ourselves. Almost every state grant was eliminated. And now we did eliminate the majority of our additional assistance. I believe it was 85% the first year, but it has been coming back to us. And right now, for our 1920 year, that reduction was 32% of the calculation. So that's a reduction. Hopefully, we're going to be getting that all back in the next year, but that's not going to happen now based on everything we know because of the current pandemic. So the county elections folks have not issued their timeline. They usually do that in March, April. They haven't issued one yet. So what you have in front of you are some things that are estimates based on prior, because they really don't move around a lot. So what you're going to see are some dates that are relatively close, but they're not actually pulled from the calendar. The one thing that is they asked us very early to let them know if we thought our board was going to have an intent to call for an election. And Mrs. Purcell did that on March 7th and said, you know what, that's been our tradition. So we're going to say we think the board may call for an election. So we did notify them. However, that does not bind the board in any way. It's completely up to this board whether you wish to call for that election or not. In July, we're going to have a signed resolution, and we'll have to have that delivered down to county elections. A publicity pamphlet with all the language in it. And then in August, we have to post a notice of the election. We have to put in in August, our pro statement from the governing board, and any and all pro and con statements are due during that time frame. Information pamphlets look like they'll be mailed somewhere around October 4th. The last date for voter registration, I believe that one is solid, October 5th, which is actually a week earlier than the prior time frame. And then they'll mail out the early ballots on October 7th, November 3rd being the election day. So there's a lot of work that goes into this, which is always why we want to make sure we get a pretty good head start on things. This is information for the board, and if there's an interest in this, we will certainly bring back a resolution for the board at the next meeting, and look forward to moving ahead with getting this thing rolling. So with that, I'll turn it back to the board for questions.
Great. I don't have any questions, but I suspect that the community will be very appreciative of what the district has done for the students during this time, not only with instruction, but with feeding and other pieces. So I think there'll be a lot of goodwill. We saw, I think, maybe the highest percentage passing for the last override that we did, like 69% or something like that. It's huge.
Yes.
So hopefully we can continue in that vein, if not higher. I think it'll be a strange year, but a good year to go out for the override. And as Dr. Johnson was talking about legislation earlier, one of the pieces of legislation that was up for consideration was moving the M&O override to being an approval for 10 years in full. That would have been really nice. So maybe we'll get that one back on the books next year. We'll see. Because it's a lot of work. For sure.
And it's expensive.
And expensive, you're right.
Yeah. So yeah, there is a cost that goes every time we have an election. So nice to be able to stretch that out a little bit. And also you get that voter fatigue. The other thing to think about for this November is it was going to be a very crowded ballot.
It was.
But a lot of the initiatives that were rolling look like they're kind of dying on the vine because they can't go out and get signatures because of the pandemic. So we may have a less crowded ballot. So if it's in the interest of the board, I will bring back a resolution for your review and potential adoption at the next board meeting.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Great, thank you. All right, moving on. We have a approval to approve the revised budget number 2 as presented. Is there any?
And Okay, you worked, Eddie? Okay, sorry, Eddie just came in. The quick summary, this is again an unusual year. And because of that, we are going ahead and revising our budget based on everything we know at a point in time. We did lower M&O by about $360,000 because our projected revenues for growth and enrollment did not happen the way we were anticipating originally. A lot of the builders slowed down their process. And so we weren't quite getting the folks in here that we were anticipating when we put this together over a year ago. So we did lower it. But we are going to get another shot at it. You're going to see another budget next month because they've extended the deadline to June 30th because of the federal CARES dollars that are coming in. So as we're going through and trying to figure out how we're going to apply those, there has been some things that have come from the Auditor General, but one of them is extending the deadline. So we will have a revised number 3 coming your way. And under that number 3, we'll have those dollars and any corrections that we're able to find because we have Raymond De Leo for a little bit longer. He's still correcting some of the student records, so we might get a little bit more money out of our ADM because they have to reconcile a lot of things. Districts have kids that they share, so some of that money shifts back and forth. So we're hoping to capture a little bit more of that. But the real big thing is the CARES money, which right now, based on the preliminary, very preliminary calculation, is be about $1.1 million. So we'll be bringing that back with a plan on how we intend to utilize those resources at the June meeting. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Perfect. Thank you for that update. Are there any questions?
No.
I don't have any. I make a motion to approve the revised budget number 2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. It is recommended the governing board approve the issue of the multi-year administrative contracts to principals for fiscal year 2021 and fiscal year 2022.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The governing board approved the revised fiscal year 2021 certified salary schedule.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. It is recommended the governing board approve revisions to the 2019-20 Educator Effectiveness Performance Pay Plan.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. It is recommended, make sure I have the right one. Recommended the governing board approve the proposed fiscal year 2021 classified salary schedule.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. It is recommended the governing board approve the assurance of support staff notices of indefinite term appointment for fiscal year 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. It is recommended the governing board approve the appointment of trustees to the Levine District Insurance Trust Board as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. It is recommended the governing board approve award to the Chase Building team for the construction of the Cheatham Classroom Addition and renovations and authorize a district contingency of 10%.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. It is recommended the governing board consider and, if deemed appropriate, approve superintendent performance pay.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. It is recommended the governing board reaffirm the top 5 2021 political agenda priorities and may also submit 2 additional priorities that would like the legislative committee to consider. The board must reach a consensus of the items submitted. So there are 5 that have been submitted.
I think those are great.
Those look good.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, it is recommended the governing board change the September 10th, 2020 board meeting to September 3rd, 2020.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any comments from the board?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. When I was walking in today, I was noticing a tree out here and how for over 100 years it stood strong through the wind, through rain, through the heat. And it had a reflection that reminded me of our staff, our students, our parents, our administrators, our principals. And they've stood strong during this adversity, and it makes me proud of what we've done in such a short period of time without any preparation. And that's just a great reflection of the team that you put together, Dr. Johnson.
Yeah. Very good. Just want to say the congratulations to our Levine Education Foundation scholarship recipients. I know they've worked hard for that and probably other scholarships, and they will do wonderful things. And it's so exciting to see that kind of positivity start from here in the Levine School District. And also to our excellence in education teachers. I know Reagan loves her music teacher, Cleo, so she is well deserving of that. Thank you, Ms. Pashley and Paseo Point for putting that information together. You were the lucky recipient to be presenting during the time where you had to do something a little new and a little different, and you met that challenge, and it was nice to see that, and nice to see what's happening in your school, and I know that's happening at all of our schools. And just hang in there, students. I hope that when August comes around that things will be back to normal. I really do believe that they will be. And I know that all of our administrative staff and others here are probably working really hard and thoughtfully about what mitigation strategies are going to look like for next year. And not only what that's going to look like, but how we're sharing that out to the community, to our parents and to our students so that they feel safe coming back, because I think that we can do a very good job for making things safe for them to come back. So that's all I have.
Great. Well, and I do want to say just thank you to all of the teachers. This is Teacher Appreciation Week. It looks much different than in the past, but we do really appreciate everything that you're doing, especially during this time. I'm sure that there are probably several of you who maybe weren't as tech savvy, but are now experts, which is great. And so just keep doing the great things and encouraging your students. And I hope that you have gotten lots of thank yous from your kids that you haven't seen as frequently as we have in the past. So hopefully we'll all be together very soon again. Vern, do you have anything?
I just wanted to add what everybody else has said, and additionally, a couple of things. The Paseo Point read-along video had 785 views.
Wow.
That's crazy amazing. That so that was one thing. The other about that the kids were already using Google Meet, and so this was an easy transformation, or not an easy transformation, but a smooth transformation. At this point, I think that the kids are dragging us along with them, and we're gonna learn whether we want to or not. The teachers are doing absolutely amazing, but watching the kids just adjust is just amazing to watch these little kids. I just can't say enough about our educators, that they were able to make this transformation in the parades we're seeing in the neighborhoods, and what a community we have. So just to all of you guys, I am so proud to be a part of this team.